Welcome to Baltimore, home to the greatest harbor in the world. It has fishermen, turtles, an aquarium, and me, Mr. Trash Wheel. The harbor wasn't always this nice. It was once full of trash. That's when my dad stepped in.
Seeing an invention come to life is extremely rewarding for me. It's almost like a puzzle, you know, and it's sort of the same sensation on a bigger scale than like getting to genius on the spelling bee in the newspaper or whatever. It's like, so. I grew up on a farm. Problem solving was kind of a necessity as well as a passion to a certain extent. You see something, you want to figure out a better way to do it. If you see a problem, you want to figure out a way to solve it. People would ask us what we're doing when we're building the prototype, for example, and we said, we're cleaning up Baltimore Harbor, and they said, it'll never be done. And we said, no, we're going to clean up Baltimore Harbor. All right, rock and roll. You see that log, right, Si? Si's responsibility is to do everything.
John is my uncle. One of the things that he always says is, if you want good help, you gotta raise it.
I like to say he's my right hand, but in many ways, I'm his assistant as often as he's my assistant.
My whole family is like this. They come up with these ideas. John was saying, hey, we need to build this water wheel-powered trash machine. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure, that'll work. That sounds good, great idea. We're headed to the Jones Falls. When you Google Mr. Trash Wheel, a pin pops up in the middle of the river up here. It's actually designated as a tourist destination.
The concept sort of came to me all at once. We had a piece of equipment on the farm that was a hay pitching machine, and you pulled it behind a tractor, and the power of its own wheels would pick up the hay from the field and pitch it onto a wagon. And I said, well, why can't we have something like that in the water that pitches the trash out of the water and puts it into something? And so the idea of the water wheel-powered trash interceptor was born. The first name was Baltimore Water Wheel. It became known later as Mr. Trash Wheel. Mr. Trash Wheel took on a sort of a life of his own. He went viral. Mr. Trash Wheel is located at the mouth of the Jones Falls River where it empties into the inner harbor. What is this stuff, Si?
Oh, probably somebody's yard trimmings.
The inner harbor of Baltimore is sort of the front yard of Baltimore.
If I make a mistake, the harbor ends up looking kind of bad. If a boom breaks, you end up with like dumpsters of trash floating around in the harbor, and kind of keeps you up at night.
When you get heavy rain, the power of water is incredible. You can't put something that isn't up to it and expect it to last in that kind of environment. The turning of the wheel is where the rakes and the conveyor gets all of its mechanical power, but the energy for that comes from two different sources. One is the flow of the river. If that power is not sufficient, we use solar panels. The solar panels charge batteries. The batteries power pumps. The pumps pump water from the river up into the buckets of the wheel. The weight of the water generates power to turn the wheel, and that becomes the mechanical energy that we use to pick up the trash. We're not using diesel engines, and we're not using electricity to power it. All right, you're all free. A lot of it is weather-driven. If we don't have rain, a dumpster can sit in there for weeks at a time if there's no storms that come in. We've changed as many as 12 dumpsters and Mr. Trash Wheel in one day when we've had rain.
There you go.
Yep.
These guys keep me running smoothly. But I'm not alone. Meet my siblings, Professor Trash Wheel, Captain Trash Wheel, and Gwenda the Good Wheel of the West. Together, we pulled out over 2,000 tons of trash from the harbor. Don't believe me? Just ask my friends from the Waterfront Partnership.
What is it about the googly? I'm just the jerk who put the googly eyes on the thing. My name is Adam Lindquist. I am the Vice President of the Healthy Harbor Initiative here at the Waterfront Partnership of Baltimore. People can have unique, compelling ideas, and they will be embraced by the city. Mr. Trash Wheel has just weaved himself into that culture, to the point of like getting tattoos of Mr. Trash Wheel and drinking Mr. Trash Wheel craft beer.
My name is Edward O'Keefe. I am the owner and vice president of Peabody Heights Brewery, and we make the Mr. Trash Wheel beers. The person that I first reached out to who was organizing and running the social media for Mr. Trash Wheel was a person named Robin Stegman. Over time, both of us kind of became closer and started dating each other. We always like to think that the Trash Wheel, brought us together, and if we ever got married, it would be in front of the trash wheels.
The trash wheels have been super helpful for Baltimore's harbor, and so now you have all this trash that's coming down through the sewer systems and other tributaries underneath the city that get picked up by him, and then the other ones around the city, but then also I can come help out with magnets and pull up the other heavy trash. Got something. Feels pretty big, Si. Let's see what it is. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want the harbor to be clean, we want it to be fresh and swimmable at some point. Oh, wow, it's covered, whatever it is. What have we got? And so we found a way to make magnet fishing and treasure hunting and all that fit into that and help people get out and motivate them to come out and see and learn about all this stuff. Nice. You want to keep it? Got an old anchor right here. The water's right here. There's so much of it around. It's a historic city. You're always going to find something neat.
I'm grateful to help my friends who rely on this harbor to feed their families, like my friend Luke, the fisherman.
Bought my first boat, I was 11 years old. It's always been a constant in my life. The bay, the water, I'm just kind of drawn to it. It's where I feel most myself.
So we're here. This is the Patapsco River. The trash wheels are all here.
Every time it rained, we would count on going out there and pulling pots just full of garbage and all kinds of plastic and stuff like that. And I mean, you could just see every tide line was covered in trash.
All right. Suit it up.
All right, you want to help me get these adjusted?
Yeah.
Nobody is more invested in the longevity of the resource than fishermen. It just makes sense. Like, we need to have a job tomorrow.
It's a nice one. Nice female.
It's a female there.
Crabs is basically Maryland's identity. People love crabs here. It's just kind of a cultural thing. And I mean, everybody here has a story about a friend or a grandfather or a dad or somebody that is tied to the bay deeper than just the bay being there. Like, it was their lifeblood.
That's a nice medium heavy male. That's a good crab. That's a female. You see how the aprons are different?
John Kellett is a really good friend of mine. He also happens to own the marina where I happen to tie up my crab boat.
He shares an innovative approach to problem solving. He also has been a big help with the trash wheels. Plus the fact I like what he's doing. I like the commercial crabbing, I like the commercial fishing. I like to see a healthy catch coming from this bay. I like to see a healthy bay that can support a healthy catch coming from it, and so does he.
Hey.
Hey, how'd you do?
Not bad. Better than the other day, that's for sure. It's about as many crabs I had out of the whole rig the other day.
Some of them are good crabs, huh?
Yeah, they're nice crabs.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah, for sure.
That looks like a good feast right there.
Yeah, not bad.
Mr. Trash Wheel, as the original one, being the father of it, it's kind of like the first kid. You're gonna worry a lot about your first kid. Every time he has a cough, you think it's going to be the end of the world. The first year or so, every time you see a red blob on the radar coming your way, I was like, uh-oh, are we going to make it through this one? After 9 years, they're sort of grown up, and I can kind of relax a little bit more. The stress is a little bit lower than it once was.
Baltimore has been good to us. And now that the harbor's clean, everyone can enjoy it.
You're gonna get to go have crabs with the Huns tonight.
Baby blue eye shadow.
I told you what Huns are.
It is really special.
The old Baltimore
So make sure you load up with that.
beehive wearing.
Can't go wrong with Huns and crabs. Huns and crabs on the water, hon.
You gonna see the Huns tonight, hon?
Welcome to Baltimore, hon.
It is imperative that our inner harbor stays clean. It's one of our biggest tourist attractions, and we love it.
I was a swimmer myself, so I'd like to see him swim like a little fish in the harbor.
We're not just pirates interested in catching the last crab. We want to be able to catch a crab today and have 2 more tomorrow.
Well, I'm proud of this nice, clean water, hon, because now I can push Miss Bonnie in it and she can go back to swimming in it like she did when she was a kid. You know what I mean, hon?
Mr. Trash Wheel, thank you for inspiring the people of Baltimore City to be the best that they can be.
Thank you, hon.
Mr. Trash Wheel, thanks for constantly being hungry and eating garbage all the time.
I think he looks cool too. He's a handsome thing.